Welcome in, guys. We are so back. Honestly, we're really excited. Welcome into the Nerds Ruin Sports podcast here. If you have watched us in the past or like, man, I haven't seen you guys in forever, you'd be correct. It has been officially a month since we filmed our last podcast, and we do have a good reason for that, being the fact that me and Anders have started another podcast called Bleav In Twins, which is a fully Minnesota Twins based podcast on the Bleav network. And we wanted to get that going before kind of trying to jump into two podcasts at once. We wanted to get our this Bleav In Twins podcast kind of started. So we've done 10 episodes of the Bleav In Twins podcast. You can go check it out on YouTube, Bleav In Twins, BLEAV. In Twins. You can also go online to Bleav.com and find us there and follow us there. It'd be amazing. Or you can go to Spotify, Apple Music, Apple, all those, and you can find us and you can find it there as well. We'd love to have you guys tune into that. We're really proud of that podcast and how far that's come. But we wanted to bring this back, obviously, because it's week one. So without further ado, let me introduce my sublime and delightful co-host, Anders Pryor. We are so excited.
No, yeah. I was gonna the kind of bevy of adjectives that Zac uses to describe me is picking up right where we left off with sublime, which is a great next step.
Thank you. I definitely don't have a Google list of synonyms are wonderful.
We can create a top 10 list episode at some point.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But no, Zac nailed it on the head. Zac and I have been sort of, our Bleav podcast has been a really good opportunity for us, and we wanted to make sure that if we were going to, begin to establish our rhythm with it in terms of a chemistry exercise and a brand building exercise and things like that, we wanted to make sure that, we were doing it with full due diligence and just investing everything into that. So now that we have established that rhythm, I think we both feel more comfortable kind of continuing Nerds Ruin Sports, which is something that Zac and I kind of, we do love doing this. And it is also, there's no real, it's totally ours. Like, we can do whatever we want with it. And I think, that kind of full creative freedom is something that we both really do like. Absolutely. And enjoy a lot of the sort of nuances that we bring to this show. You do see on Bleav. It is a little different. The tonage is maybe a little bit different. The structure is a little bit different, but a lot of it's there. But we knew how much fun this is. And so as we get to the NFL season, we thought it was especially this right now, Wednesday before a season officially starts, is the perfect time to kind of jump back in to this show. So I'm really excited. We have a lot of really cool stuff today. So we're really back.
We are so back. Like Andrew said here, our Bleav In Twins podcast, every single episode, we start off the podcast talking about something that isn't MLB related in sports. And we've enjoyed doing that so much that it kind of made us be like, man, we want to bring this back. We want to do this again because we want to expand on what we talk about there in a larger context here. So please go watch Bleav In Twins. Please go check it out like we do. Like, for example, we did a couple fantasy episodes in a row where our first topic of the day was we talked about who to take in the first early picks of fantasy football, who to take in the late picks of fantasy football. Yep. We've done college football, we've done all of that, and it's so good to be back in football season. But like Andrew said, with this being week one, with our week one coming up, we realized we had to get back here to kind of get to what we wanted to do, which was what we're doing in this show. So to start off, Anders has a fun little exercise here for us. Head coaching exercise that will get started off here, and then we'll talk about just week one in general, the NFL season, make our playoff. We'll show you our playoff predictions. That's not going to be seeding. It's going to be who we think wins the division, who we think the wild card teams are going to be, like the 7 teams that make the playoffs in each division. We will predict those.
Yep.
And then we're going to make our week 1 predictions. And me and Anders are going to make a little game out of it. We are not exactly sure how we're going to structure the game throughout the year, but we are going to make a little game out of it and have it'll be a little competition. Maybe there'll be a little punishment for whoever does worse this year. Yeah. We'll see.
We'll figure. It'll kind of come naturally.
It will kind of come, but we're excited for this show. Anders, if I missed anything on what we're going to talk about today, please feel free to answer that.
Yep.
Otherwise, and I want you to get into this head coaching exercise. What are we doing here today?
So I kind of gave this one to Zach kind of just straight up. So talking about head coaches is kind of a cool way to sort of, that's a really good avenue to sort of to talk about what we think of teams in general. But what I want to do here with Zach is basically, I've seen more and more as the offseason has gone on. And a lot of, the training camp stuff is finalized and the rosters are finalized and all the trades are finalized and everything like that, free agency periods, etc. Like having an understanding, of what head coaches' seats are like in terms of temperature, which is what we sort of base it on. So what I'm going to do here with Zach is I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 head coaches. And what I want him to do is to just on a scale of 1 to 10, kind of give me how hot he thinks the seat is. I might provide, if I starkly disagree, I might provide some of my own thoughts, but and Zach has already kind of revealed, hey, if this name's on here, it's I'm gonna do my thing and just rip this guy. So
I want to give a quick heads up before we start, because I read to mention this earlier.
Oh yeah.
I have a fantasy draft in like 15 minutes, and I think it's gonna make great content when this happens. It's an auction draft. So if you guys see me looking away, I'm most likely focused on the fantasy draft, but I will still be here talking and I will still be focused on this. But it'll make great content if I tell you guys who I'm picking in a fantasy draft. And in this podcast, as you know, we are big fantasy football fans in this podcast. I think it'll be really cool. So you guys might see me look away once in a while.
One of the things that I definitely want to know, and I think a lot of the viewers are definitely going to want to know, is how much money Christian McCaffrey goes for in this.
I want to know that too, actually. I've never done an auction draft before. This is interesting.
So once that number gets revealed, I would that can definitely be because I'm also not quite as familiar with the optics of like how you invest in that sort of stuff. So I'm actually genuinely curious too.
I am too. Anders, but we can get going here. Sorry, I had to bring it up because you guys will probably see me look away or probably lose attention for a quick second.
Great sidebar. Keep us updated. So I'm going to start here, Zach. On a scale of 1 to 10. How hot is the head coaching seat of Nick Sirianni?
I'm only giving this higher number simply because it's Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay.
Simply because it's Philadelphia. Like, the standards in Philly are way too high for Nick Sirianni. Like, they're like the fact that he went to like the Super Bowl, or was close to Super Bowl, or went to Super Bowl 2 years ago, was it? They went to Super Bowl and lost. And then the next year he's on the hot seat, might be getting fired at the end of the season because of how bad it was. Like, shows you just how insane the standards are. Like, the Eagles have standards of like the Los Angeles Lakers and like the New York Yankees, and it's not really close. It's like, and so for that reason only, I'm giving Nick Sirianni a really high hot seat number, simply because I feel like if the Eagles get off to a bad start in this year, or they blow it again like they did last year, he's gonna be gone. Like, it just is, and that's just where I'm at.
Yeah, no, I think that's all makes sense because they do have a propensity to sort of, they have shown they will fire people mid-season. I I was going to give it a 9. I think 8 is fair. It's kind of interesting.
It was 8 or 9 for me. I was in between both of them.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting for like Sirianni because like this whole idea of like, or like the theory that's been passed around, that's been shared by me or has been held by me, is that he was in a lot of ways kind of propped up by Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon. And, last year it was, you could also just as fairly say, maybe Brian Johnson and Sean Desai were just that bad. But now it's a different group outside of that initial one with Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. And so if they do get back to winning, like 12, 13 games and actually look good, even in that first year, they didn't look great at a lot of times. I think a lot of people kind of did appropriately criticize them for it. But even just by the record, if they get back to there, you can kind of write it off as, okay, Brian Johnson was just legitimately terrible. Versus like if they do kind of look strange or they get off to like a slow start, it's like, okay, well, it's not that we're 0-2. It's that we've lost 8 of our last 9. Then I think the Sirianni stuff, I do think Sirianni is a very underrated candidate to be fired mid-season. I don't think that if this good thing goes like a 4-7 or 4-8, I don't think that's entirely off the board. But I think that everything, but in terms of for Philly specifically, I thought that you nailed the head there in terms of what the standards are.
I agree.
Go to the next name. Scale of 1 to 10. How hot is the head coaching seat? We're going to go the other side of the division. Mike McCarthy.
This is tough because I've never been a Mike McCarthy fan. And I have proof of this. I want to point this out. I have legit proof that I've never liked Mike McCarthy for a very long time. And I wrote an article. When I was first getting into sports media, I decided to get my own blog. And I got like a WordPress site and everything. I did my own blog. I was going to get a whole thing. And I stopped doing it. I had like 3 articles and I stopped doing the blog completely. I stopped doing it. But my first ever article I wrote was on why Mike McCarthy should be fired from Green Bay. That was my first ever article I wrote. And I wrote a whole thing talking about how Mike McCarthy is as good a coach in Green Bay as at the time the Los Angeles Lakers coach who had just won the championship with LeBron James was at his job.
Right.
No, it wasn't Vogel. It wasn't. It was the Cavs. It was the Cavs coach that won
Ty Lue.
I said Mike McCarthy was as good a head coach as Ty Lue was, and Ty Lue got fired in like 3 weeks of the next coaching season. So yeah, I've never liked Mike McCarthy. I think he's a terrible coach. I would put him higher because it's Dallas and because I don't think Jerry Jones likes to fire anyone. Really. Like he lasted with Jason Garrett way longer than he probably should have lasted with Jason Garrett. I think his hot seat's probably like a 6 right now, like a 5 or a 6. Simply because I think Jerry Jones doesn't like to fire anyone. I feel like if the Cowboys continue to like win the division, like I have them winning the division this year, I think. Or did I win the division this year? I have them losing. I have them finishing second. But if they win the division or make the playoffs, like I assume that would keep his job, even if they lose again in the playoffs first round, which would be terrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say 6 too. For one, Jerry's leash does tend to be a little longer for that position, and then I feel like there's this kind of weird misnomer that like the Cowboys are like Super Bowl or bust. When if you ask, the Cowboys are kind of one of those instances. Well, did something just happen in the fantasy?
No, nothing just happened in the fantasy. Well, the chat is going off in the fantasy, and they said some funny stuff, so that's why. Anyway, continue.
But the Cowboys are kind of one of those examples. I feel like where if everyone is saying that a team is overrated, then they're not overrated. And the Cowboys haven't really had any sort of substantive postseason success in 20-something years. And if people and it's not Super Bowl or bust, because again, it's only a 6. Because if Mike McCarthy, if they get to the conference championship, Mike McCarthy is going to get a 4 or 5 year contract extension. Again, this is kind of interesting because for him, he wouldn't really get. No one really views him as a candidate to get fired midseason just because of his history of regular season success. He wouldn't really be fired, right? It would just be they would let his contract expire, and not extend him. So I agree. It's a 6 because of Jerry. And because if they make because of the lack of success they've had in the past few decades, if they make the conference championship, or even better yet, get to the Super Bowl and lose, even if they lose bad, even if they get blown out by the Chiefs or something.
All Mike McCarthy has to do to secure his spot in Dallas for the next 4 years is win one playoff game.
Right. I agree. No, even maybe if they win one and then the loss in the second round is cartoonishly bad.
No, I didn't think that. If they win a divisional round game, if the Cowboys win a divisional round game, that would secure Mike McCarthy's spot in the playoffs for 4 years.
If
5. No, Mike McCarthy would be instantly allowed to be a head coach in Dallas for the rest of his career.
I agree. I think if they make the NFC Championship game, he's gonna be probably the first coach to be extended. So that's that. So I agree, 6 out of 10. Next coach, 1 to 10, the heat of the seat of Doug Peterson.
This is tough. I don't think it's that high. Personally, I'm gonna say 5. Simply because I think that Jacksonville team still has more pieces that need to be there for it to really have a legit shot at being great. Besides Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence is that key piece. But I will say if Trevor Lawrence has another bad year or another subpar year like he did last year, then you're thinking higher, because Doug Peterson's, the reason he's in Jacksonville is because of his QB prowess and his ability to develop QBs. Right. If he continues to struggle developing Trevor Lawrence after they've paid him way too much money, then I think you could definitely see his hot seat being an issue.
No, the quarterback specific point is a good one. I was going to go 6. Maybe even leaning. I thought that to me it would be closer to probably an 8 if they had because the Trevor Lawrence injury, it's not mysterious. We can point it to a specific game in a specific time. So to me, if that regression happened without the injury and they missed the playoffs and had that class with Trevor Lawrence fully healthy, then I think I would put him at an 8 or even a 9. But I think he gets a little bit of pass because of it. But I do, and then if Trevor does get injured again this year, that's kind of a whole separate conversation. And I'm also probably not willing to put him out to a 7 or 8 because I do think there is an avenue where they keep Doug Peterson but fire Press Taylor. I think that is an on the table option. I do think though, if Jacksonville kind of squeaks into the playoffs at 9-8 and loses a game, I think that could do it. I think I view, because of Trevor's injury last year, I don't know. I feel like the performance of the Jags as a whole is kind of more indicative of how he'll be kept as opposed to Trevor Lawrence. But your point on because to me, if Trevor Lawrence has a slightly above average, but still relatively mediocre season, but they win a playoff game, I think he'll stick around. But I do see your point where if it gets even worse than last year, then that is a conversation.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, quick update on the Christian McCaffrey was not the first name nominated. So CeeDee Lamb was nominated first. He went for $62, and Tyreek Hill went for $65.
Okay.
And the same guy bet $60 on Tyreek Hill to try to get CeeDee and Tyreek and just missed out on the bet. But and now Justin Jefferson is up next. Oh, I kind of want to bet. I'm going to bet. We're going to go for it. One second. We're placing bids on Justin Jefferson.
You put 70 on there?
I'm got 42 on him now. I'm willing to go up more, though.
I can't go. I don't feel comfortable going to the next name until we know whether
I'm going 50. I'm going 50. I'm going 55 is my highest bid I will do.
Okay.
If somebody beats me out on that, somebody just won 55. Oh, my God.
Do 56.
56. We'll do it. We'll do 56. Oh my God. My God. I'm not aware of this. Yeah, no. Somebody's been $60. Oh God. Do I keep going? I have a $90. I have like $90 on receivers. I'm really kind of F it. We're going 61.
Whoa.
This is not how I was meaning to go do this, but no, this guy's gonna bet more. Okay, he can take it. He can take it. I'm not.
Okay.
You know what?
Shout out. There you go.
You put 65 on him. I'm like, I'm not paying the same. I'm not paying 65 for Jetta, so he can take him.
No.
Okay. So anyway, continue. We can go to the next name.
No. So the next name is your guy. Zach, tell me how hot is Dennis Allen's seat?
I'm gonna go with a 10, Anders. I legit think he's gonna be the first coach fired this year.
Are you explicitly predicting that he'll be fired mid-season?
Yes.
Okay.
I think the Saints aren't good enough to be there, and I think he's not a good enough coach to be there. Simply because I just don't like the Saints QB situation at all. But
right. What would he have to do, since like 10 is like the highest you can go? Like what?
He would have to start the season with winning the division. Like he'd have to get himself he has to win the NFC South and being pretty much if he starts the season 0-3, 0-4, 1-5 or something like that, I would probably say, what just happened?
Oh boy, here we go.
No, I don't think you understand. It's worse. Somebody nominated Henry Ruggs.
Oh, no.
And just won Henry Ruggs. Oh my God, what are you doing? Okay, continue on. Sorry, but yeah, no, Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen to me is a 10. I legit don't think he makes it to this season.
And here's the thing, this is kind of part of it. They start off with Carolina, so they'll start off 1-0. But then their next, what is that? Their next 5 games, Zach, are at Dallas, against Philly, at Atlanta, at Kansas City, versus Tampa Bay.
Yeah, no, it's
so they're probably there's a real. How many is that? Yeah, Dallas, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Kansas City, Tampa. Yeah, there's 1 in 5 is on the board. So I could definitely, and their next opponent would be Denver, which is I don't think is going to be very good. So I actually think I would say, you know what, we can make a side prediction right now. I'm going to say right here, Thursday Night Football, Denver, right? Is the Saints at Denver? That plays Thursday, October 17th. We'll find a way to clip this or something. Friday, October 18th is the day that Dennis Allen gets fired.
Ooh, okay. I like it. So
what I'm saying, I think that if that's when it's going to happen, now I don't think it's going to happen. I think his seat is really hot. You know me, I like the Saints. We'll get to that later. But if it does happen, I think that's how it would go down. So, but I would put him at a 9, just because I do think, I'll put him at a I'll put him at a 9, just because he's an in-house sort of name, and but no, and Clint Kubiak like comes in and can kind of, we'll see.
Also, I'd like to announce I have my first player on my team.
Oh,
Saquon Barkley is a member of my team.
For what?
$48.
$48. Okay, yeah.
I was like, that's a solid price. I'm like, I will not, as long as it's over 50, I will happily take a good running back on my team. That was basically my option.
Yeah.
So Saquon Barkley, you are team Zac 22 member. Perfect. Okay, continue on as we continue.
Next name, scale of 1 to 10. How hot is the seat of Brian Daboll?
How hot is this? This is tough because I think he could be a good coach. He just has had to deal with Daniel Jones for the past 3 seasons, or 2 seasons, or whatever it is. I'm gonna say 4, or 3 or 4. I don't think it's that hot. I think Daniel Jones is hot. I don't think. Daniel
Jones' hot seat is a 10.
Daniel Jones' hot seat is like, it's a 10, and I think
it's an 11.
And I think after Hard Knocks, the Giants GM Joe Shane's hot seat is really high as well.
Okay, no. Here's a side bit. I don't know if either of these are going to happen.
Here's CMC.
Oh boy. Oh, here we go. Guys, stop the programming. I need to see this.
Oh my God.
What?
So we just bid 90.
Oh God.
Rigel got him for $90. That's crazy, Rigel.
Are you gonna match? Go 91?
No, it was 90. 90. It's already sold.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Okay, well, I'm also gonna bid on this player as well. So give me a quick second.
Who?
Jamar Chase.
What are you gonna go up to?
We'll see. I might go up to 60 here. That might be the most I'll go. But I got Saquon. I'd like to get one good wide receiver though.
Right.
We're gonna wait though. I'm gonna see because there's a lot of people bidding on him right now. Like there's a lot of people bidding on him right now. Okay, I got him 49 right now. Can I hold that? I'm assuming Rigel's gonna go up with me here. I got him for 49. Let's go.
40. Oh wow.
I got Saquon and Jamar Chase for the same price. That's a dub for me.
That's really good.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is up. Do I go for him too? Let's go for him too. I have $40. I'm not gonna get him. No, he's already at 56. Holy crap.
Yeah. No.
I'm not going. He's already higher than Jamar Chase, and it's in like 4 people. That's crazy. And he's at 6. Okay, I'm gonna see. I just want to see where this goes. 1 second. I just want to see where Amon-Ra goes because this is the highest we've had a wide receiver for a while. And I wonder if someone will pay more than 6. If someone will make him the highest paid wide receiver in this draft. Dude, I got my wide receiver 1 for way less than I thought I was going to get my wide receiver 1 for. I'll say that. You think Jamar Chase for $49? I'll take that every day of the week. Anyway. Okay. So sorry. I am so sorry. This is taking way longer. Continue.
No, it's totally okay. No, I wanted to bring this up. This was the one that I was most curious to hear your thoughts about because I know you're an avid Daniel Jones hater.
I am.
What do you think will happen? Not more likely to happen because I think that you think both will happen. But what do you think will happen first? Dennis Allen getting fired or Daniel Jones getting benched?
Daniel Jones getting benched or Brian Daboll? Or did you say Brian Daboll getting fired? Daniel Jones.
No. Dennis Allen.
Dennis Allen. Daniel Jones getting benched. 100%.
Okay.
I think within the first few games he gets benched.
Yeah,
I do.
Oh
my lord. Sorry, Breece Hall's at Breece Hall's already $80.
How many people is this? This is 10 people.
This is 10 people.
Jeez.
Okay, I'm not. I was gonna consider betting on Breece Hall, but I'm not putting $80 on Breece Hall. Thank you very much. Continue. So yeah, no, I would say. Also, I'm sorry, I messed this up. I used the wrong parentheses for that.
Oh no, yeah, no, it was
there you go. Professional Daniel Jones hater. As you can see, that is I consider myself a professional at it. Daniel Jones is the worst QB I've ever seen, and I will have said this for a long time. I have no idea how he got a second contract in this league.
Yeah, no, I feel like the jury's kind of out. I think I am predicting that. I think that Dennis Allen's going to make it the full year. I don't think he's going to get fired mid-season. I mean, the Saints won how many games? They won. Excuse me. Did they go 8-9 or 9-8? Saints went 9-8 last year. So, I don't like. It's really difficult for me to fully digest all of these takes. They're going to go 5-12 or I don't know, right? I think the offense was underrated last year and will be better under Clint Kubiak. But we'll get to me and the Saints later. Zach, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hot is the seat of Matt Eberflus?
Okay, I always usually say high here, and I think I'm gonna still keep it kind of high. I'm gonna go a 7 or an 8. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go an 8. I'm gonna go an 8 simply because I think they have now given him every piece he needs to be successful.
Right.
If he can't make the playoffs with this team
in a weaker NFC,
and with this team, I would assume that he's done. I'd assume that he is pretty much done.
Right.
That's my thought.
And trading for Josh Sweat. The defense improved in just from both eye test and metrics were so much better. From a data wise, we're so much better after he took over defensive play calling. And you add Josh Sweat to that, and you get a full season of him. So no, I think it's gonna be, and also the defense. I think the defense is gonna be on the field less. They're gonna, be less tired, and so I do, I agree with the idea. I agree with I don't think he will be fired because I, as we're going to be shown later, I do have the Bears making the playoffs, but I would say a 7 because I do think that there is a sense of urgency with Caleb. I think they understand what they have. And I do think that with how much stuff this group has, what this roster looks like, if they don't kind of take the step that we all think they will, then it'll paint as accurate depiction of Matt Eberflus that we have. So I think it's a 7. I agree with you. Or you said 8, right?
I said 7 or 8. I was kind of I was on that border of 7 or 8, which is fully on the. But I am fully in belief that if Matt Eberflus misses the playoffs, he is done. I'm fully in belief that if Matt Eberflus misses the playoffs, he is done.
I agree with you. I think they'll make the playoffs. But I do agree with you that if they don't, he will be gone. I agree with that. Last 2 here. What do you think from 1 to 10 is the hot seat rating for Sean McDermott?
5 or no, we'll go 4. I think it's higher. I think it's it might be a 5, but I think their failure to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs is definitely starting to show, and it's starting to anger Buffalo fans. The issue is that McDermott's an incredible coach, and he'll probably get a head coaching job within like days of getting fired.
Right.
Like some team will pay him. And some team will keep him on as head coach just because of how successful he was. And his ability to develop Josh Allen into what was an incredible QB is awesome. So
Right.
going to say a 4. I don't see him getting fired this year. I really don't. But yeah.
I'm on the border between 5 and 6. I don't know. Like Brandon Bean, like I don't know how much because of because we have a history of people with Josh Allen's play style not aging great. I think their window is even, and the biggest bulks of Josh's money haven't really fully kicked in yet in terms of the cap hit he's going to cause. And so I kind of like, and that's going to sort of negate now. McDermott's great at defense. I think he sets a really high defensive floor. I think we saw that last year with all the injuries, and a lot of those guys, left in free agency, or were traded, or were injured, or whatever. Like injured, like to start this year, like with Matt Milano. But I think that McDermott has the floor, but the ceiling is kind of high, and so again, Buffalo will be discussed in our playoff prediction. But I do think that there is a little bit of, I think like Chiefs fatigue. I think they kind of they should have had at least a Super Bowl appearance by now, I think. And I do sort of wonder if, it's not, I think it's the trickiest one on this list. Yeah, I don't know. This one was hard. I even gravitated towards us not putting on this at all, just because I don't even really know how to fully articulate how I feel. I'll go 6 though. I think your 4 to 5 kind of balance is fair. You're smiling at something. Are you bidding on someone?
Yeah, I'm betting on Marvin Harrison Jr. right now.
What is it?
I'm at 42, and I'm not going any higher. Okay. I got him. Okay, 42. Oh, God. That's more than I wanted to spend on wide receivers already. But but the Jamar Chase and Marvin Harrison Jr. stack, I mean, come on. I mean.
Yeah, that's pretty.
I'll take Saquon, Jamar Chase, Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't have a ton of money to spend on other wide receivers, but I don't think I need to, personally.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think I can go for lower rated wide receivers now and kind of just fill out my flex because it's only a 2 RB, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex.
Okay.
So I think I can wait on those. Anyway, so yes, there we go.
Last one. Hot seat, Kyle Shanahan.
2.
2?
1, 2. There's no possible way Kyle Shanahan gets fired. In my personal opinion, there's no way this year. This year, no. And because he just came to the Super Bowl, and I think even if they make it to the playoffs this year, win the division, do that stuff, I think it's hard for me to see him getting fired at all. It really is.
I think I agree. I was gonna say 3. I do think that the Heat will sort of it won't kind of freeze and restart. I think it'll sort of, because of how high the standards are. It's the same thing with the Eagles and Sirianni, or with or the Cowboys and McCarthy. I think this and with McDermott and the Bills too. I think the standard's going to carry over. Sort of it's going to all kind of come together, and by the end of next season, so January of 2026, I think it could be could be a 10 right there. So yeah, no, that's those last 2 I think are the trickiest ones, because it really depends on what you define as like hot. I do have one more for you. This is sort of just kind of a funny one I just sort of thought of.
Please do. I'm curious.
How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hot is the seat of Dave Canales?
You're really gonna throw a first-year head coach on here like that?
Don't all David Tepper head coaches kind of start the year in the hot seat?
Actually, you're not wrong. I guess that you definitely have a point.
Like, is
no,
it?
I would.
Is it
I
already
would,
a 3?
like I would say probably like 2. I really don't think he's that on the hot seat. I think David Tepper likes him. I think he's a QB whisperer, so I think he can develop Bryce Young. I've said that before. So I don't think it's. I'm not going to say high. I can't say it's high. Even with the David Tepper stuff, I can't say it's high.
Think about it. Like, think about it for a lot of like the other like for all the other like rookie head coaches this year, right? Like Mike McDonald, it would be a
0.5.
It would be like 0. Like Raheem Morris 0.
Raheem Morris would be a little more. But Raheem Morris is. Could you give everybody where Raheem Morris is again?
Atlanta.
To me, I could see it not being a 0 at Raheem Morris' expense, simply because he's been a head coach before, so he has high expectations. If he fails, I could see him, I could see it not being a thing. I could see that. Also, I will say one other person that I think is maybe a higher rookie head seat is the Raiders head coach.
Antonio Pierce.
Because he is an interim. And he is he's an interim that's been now made full time, but I could also see that not lasting.
Right.
Like Leslie Frazier was an interim that was brought on, and he was really bad, and he only lasted a year and a half, 2 years. So I don't know. I could see it not lasting that long.
Brian Callahan in Tennessee is a 0, I think.
Yeah, Brian Callahan absolutely is. I think he's developing young players.
And I'm trying to think of the other rookies. Dan Quinn in Washington is a 0. Just because of the new ownership and his own name and all that kind of stuff. And I want to say Gerard Mayo's a 0. Would you say now that he's had his extension that Mike McDaniel is a 0? I think he is.
Mike McDaniel's a 0. I will say though, we're saying that all the rookie coaches, but then again, we said that about Anders specifically. Anders said that about Josh McDaniels too. And 1 year in, we were talking about him possibly being fired after the first season.
That's true.
So, and I am going to continue saying Anders said that because I have flamed Anders for this day on and day off about how bad of an idea that was. Dang.
Yeah.
Somebody just went for Sam Darnold.
And learning from my terrible, awful, just horrifyingly bad Josh McDaniel take with the Raiders is part of why is me. I feel like my support of Antonio Pierce is kind of a demonstration of me learning from that.
Yeah.
Because maybe, it's not even a risk for Sasha take necessarily, but I do agree and support the idea of giving Pierce
giving interim head coaches that looked actually okay an actual chance.
Right.
Because Rich Bisaccia got screwed over and it was a terrible idea.
I would give him 2 full years. Antonio Pierce. I'd give him 2 full years to kind of get his stuff going. But that, I believe, is it for me. Oh, and I just realized I had another name that I forgot to write down. But we don't talk about it because it's so obvious. Robert Saleh is a 10.
Oh yeah, Robert Saleh is a 10. 100%.
Robert Saleh, I actually think might have a hotter seat than Dennis Allen.
Ooh, that's tough. I don't know about that, but it's a 10 for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get into some playoff predictions, Zach.
Oh yes, let's do that now.
Let's get
Let me. I can help you with that. Let me do that right there.
Yep.
Anders.
Yep.
We are going to talk about playoff predictions now. Yep. So Anders, we'll start the AFC because it's already on the screen and people can already see it at this point. Yep. So Anders, can you tell me your playoffs, why you chose these 7 teams, and exactly the reason you did?
Yep. So, by the way, and just for the audience's note, these are cemented. Like, we are taking these to the whole way. Of like, and maybe Zach and I can have a competition about like how many, getting like 1 point for, getting 1 point for them making the playoffs and like 2 points if they get specifically division winner or wild card, something like that. But so these are my playoff teams. So the Bengals, I mean, I understand the wrist stuff is a little worrisome, but I have seen Burrow I have watched him complete a fully healthy season twice. And when they do that, they win a bunch of games and go deep into the playoffs. And so I do kind of genuinely believe, like, within that within that division, I think the Browns quarterback play is a little strange. I don't love a lot of their injuries. I don't love the depth of their receiving core. The Steelers, I think, are going to be probably a 7-win team. And then for the Ravens, and I have the Ravens as a wild card team, but the Ravens, I think, they were great at running the ball last year, and their kind of big bullet in the offseason was Derrick Henry, right? Like, they could have got Robert Hunt. They could have gone Calvin Ridley. They could have done something and to kind of plug in a more clear weakness, but instead they decide to go Derrick Henry and, add like a 30-year-old aging running back with some injury stuff to a running game that was already good. So I have the Bengals winning the division there. Dolphins, I do think that the defense will get better under Anthony Weaver. And again, I do. If you look at the schedule outside of, I don't have it in front of me, but from what I can recall from it, the Jets are kind of the big late games that they have in super cold weather. Other than that, I think a lot of the cold weather places they do sort of get earlier on. And so I think that plays to their advantage. I do think they get some scheduling breaks there. Houston, obviously I have the Jags making the playoffs. The Colts were sort of a hard omission for me. But I do think that, Texans, you retain Bobby Slowick, you get Danielle Hunter, you add Joe Mixon, who I think is a little overrated, but I do think that he will improve the run game that was kind of mediocre last year. And then, just more defensive chemistry to go on top of everything. So I think that I feel pretty confident in that. I think that the Nico Collins, CJ Stroud kind of dynamic takes another step forward instead of sort of plateauing. And then the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Ravens, I mentioned already. I think defensively, I do kind of worry about the Mike McDonald brain drain. I know, Zach Orr is in-house, but I just think in terms of the talent on the defensive side, it's too good, and I think the now with Zay Flowers and with Derrick Henry, the skill position, and with Mark Andrews obviously still being there, the skill position guys, the floor for them is a little too high for me to feel comfortable putting them under anything less than 10 games. So I think they'll be the wild card. Jags, I like what they're doing. I think Trevor's going to be, maybe not, I'm not sure if great's the right word. I think he'll be very good. I think he'll have the year he's about to have will be his best year. I like they lost Ridley. I like their depth. I like the Brian Thomas Jr. pick. Switching out defensive coordinators, bringing in Ryan Nielsen, I think that will be. I thought the Ryan Nielsen defensive coordinator acquisition was one of the more underrated acquisitions by a team in the offseason. And so I do believe in Doug Peterson. Like I do think that last year he did get a little I know I had them higher on the hot seat than you. I do think that we'll make the playoffs this year. And then for the Jets, I mean, probably the most, kind of tiring team to talk about in football. I do, excuse me, as long, like, we talk about how I know some Jets credits get sort of fatigued on the whole take of like they won 7 games with the worst quarterback play in football. My response to that is, we Jets fans say that, and then people respond with, "Oh, like there's no proof that Aaron Rodgers is going to be good because of his last year in Green Bay." I honestly think that if you took those rankings and slide them over to like today, that gap of improvement would be enough to add another 2 wins on or 3 wins on. So I think, and as long as all of the players that they have that do have injury history, particularly Mike Williams and Tyron Smith and Elijah Vera Tucker, as long as they're not all catastrophic and all simultaneous, and again, that lack of anxiety in my voice is sort of amped by the Olu Fashanu draft pick, which I thought was perfect for this Jets team. You have an immediately kind of plug and play solution that you didn't really have last year. And so, I feel really good about this group of 7 teams. The Bills is kind of the big omission here. We were talking about with Sean McDermott earlier. I do think that under Joe Brady, with a full year of him being the offensive coordinator, they're going to take the ball out of Josh Allen's hands more, be more of a run team, and sort of do some pace of play stuff, try to do a little bit more clock manipulation. I think to do that style of play effectively, where you can be a firm playoff team, you need to have an elite top 5 defense. And I think that Sean McDermott sets the floor high where they can be like a top 13 or 12 defense. I don't think, though, that they have the defensive roster necessary to push themselves to a firm top 3, top 4 defense, which is what I think you need with that style of offense to work together. And so I feel pretty comfortable about leaving out. So Bengals, Dolphins, Texans, Chiefs, Ravens, Jags, Jets. Those are my 7 playoff teams. Zach, any thoughts before we go to yours?
I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. I will. One second. I need to do one thing here quick, which is
yours and ours are that different. I don't think.
No, I don't think it's that different. And honestly, I do like it. My only complaint is the Dolphins winning the division and the Bills not making the playoffs is oh crap.
There we go.
Wait. Oh, there we go. Is crazy to me.
Nope.
Yeah. I don't agree personally. Simply because I just don't trust Tua that much yet. Enough to say he'll win the division over the Bills. I don't.
Zac Tipton, professional Daniel Jones hater, amateur Tua Tagovailoa hater.
Yeah. That is factual. I'm not a big Tua supporter. And that's fair. I like Josh Allen a lot more, so I'm gonna go with I'd say Bills there. But that's that. Moving on quickly to my AFC playoff predictions.
Yes.
There it is. I have the Ravens winning the AFC in general. Honestly, I think the Ravens win the AFC outright. I think they're so good this year with Derrick Henry added on, and although I will say I'm a little worried about them losing their coordinator McDonald, the defensive coordinator. I'm a little worried about that to see if that impacts their defensive presence. But I have to say I like the Ravens there. The Bills, I just said I like the Bills a lot. Josh Allen, one of my favorite QBs in the game. I love to watch him play. I think he's going to be on fire this year. And I said I'm not the biggest. I'm not a hater of Sean McDermott. So I do like the Bills here. I'm going to stick with the same. The Texans and Chiefs are pretty self-explanatory to me. I think the Texans are far and away the best team in the AFC South. It's not even close. I think that's a pretty easy pick. And then obviously there's no way you're not picking the Chiefs from the division at this point.
Right.
I think the Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders all got worse this offseason. And I think the Chiefs are the only team that actually got improved this offseason.
Mhm.
So, or at least not improved, but at least just stayed the same. So, yeah, no.
No other AFC South representatives, no Jags, no Colts. I know you're really high on Anthony Richardson. Were the Colts kind of the first team out here?
The Colts were not the first team out for me. Actually, the Browns were. I thought the Browns were going to make the play. I think they have a chance. I love Kevin Stefanski, what he does in Cleveland. With what little he honestly has in Cleveland, I feel like he's done a great job there. And I like Kevin Stefanski a lot. So the Browns are actually next team out, but the Colts are there. I need to see more from Anthony Richardson healthy to believe that I can say they're their team. But if they do, I think the Colts have a chance of passing the Jets here at the end. With my wildcard teams, the Bengals specifically, I think they make it. I love Joe Burrow. I love what the team has. I think the Bengals that would like it. I did put the Dolphins in the playoffs, despite what I've said about Tua. I think they make the last. I think Mike McDaniel is awesome. I love Mike McDaniel. I do not like Tua. I like Mike McDaniel. And I think the Tyreek Hill, I think this team's great. I think Dolphins make it. However, I will say it is a lot closer. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I will say though, like there are a bunch of teams I think that are just on the border. The Browns are one of the teams. The Steelers are always there because it's Tomlin. He never has a losing season. You always got to think he's going to be there. And then the Jets and Dolphins as well. But in Colts, I said already. But those are like the 5 teams I think are right on the border. I think every other AFC West team is like not going to be good this year. I think so. I think the Chiefs kind of far and away run that division. And I think I could see the Chiefs going 6-0 in their division. Pretty easily.
What, as a side question, what's your order prediction for the AFC West? Since neither you or I have no other teams, I know that some people have the Chargers squeaking in there. I don't. I just don't think their skill position players are good enough. But what's your order for the AFC West?
What's my order for the AFC West? Ooh, that's tough. I'm gonna go Chiefs, Chargers. No, I'm gonna go Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. Simply because obviously the Raiders don't have a QB. I love Minshew, but the Raiders, we don't have a QB. Bo Nix looked impressive in preseason, so that's why I'm giving the Broncos a little bit of an edge over them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the Chargers are second because I think Justin Herbert can at least will that team to like 7 wins.
Sure.
If he needs to. But I think we kind of know this season's kind of being a dud this season's going to be a dud. Oh, that's another one. We didn't talk about John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh, and when we were talking about our rookie head coaches, we never mentioned Jim Harbaugh, which I think
also
he's a 0. But yeah, we never mentioned him.
-1.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm gonna go. One of my hot takes for this year is that I think the Raiders are going to finish second in the AFC West.
You think the Raiders are going to finish what in the AFC West?
Second.
Okay.
They didn't have a QB last year either, and they went 8-9, and I think that I think Gardner Minshew, if it is Gardner Minshew, I think that both of them in a full stretch can play better than what Jimmy Garoppolo gave you last year in whatever spurt he had. And also going from aside from McDaniel, you get a clear upgrade from going from Mick Lombardi, who should have never been an offensive coordinator, to Luke Getsy, who has been a core part of multiple successful offenses. So the Chargers, I just don't think I don't think the skill position players are good enough. And I think that the run heavy style is going to minimize whatever I do think of Herbert. And I don't believe there's just the defensive back 7 is still just riddled with question marks. So we'll see. And then, Denver's Denver. It's just a bad, regardless of Bo Nix, it's just a bad roster. like I think it'll get caught up to eventually. So
Yeah, no.
But I like your I like your picks here.
Okay, moving on to the NFC side. We're already an hour. This is impressive. We're NFC playoffs. Anders,
Yep.
give us why here. I like your look so far, except for except for one specific team that I've talked about earlier, but I'll talk about later there. I do like your team except for one here.
Yeah.
Where are we at?
So yeah. So
I one surprise omission here, Anders, and I'd like to hear more on that later, obviously. But I see one I see there's not a red on this. There's not a big red on this roster. I'm a little that here, Anders, and I'm a little.
I'll kind of go in reverse order here. Well, no, I'll start at the top. So the Lions, I think the Lions are probably the best outside of however you evaluate the Chiefs roster, just because how much Patrick Mahomes kind of elevates it. I think in terms of total 53 man, I think you can make a legitimate argument that the Lions have the best roster in football. And I think they have the best offensive coordinator in football. So that's really easy to me. They probably would be my NFC pick. The Cowboys, the Cowboys are my pick to win the NFC East. Again, like they won 12 and 5 the last 3 years. And the whole narrative of the entire offseason has been it's the same team. So why would you expect a different result? So I think it'll be fine. I like the 2 rookies that they're going to be having on the offensive line, Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe. Zach and I are big draft guys. Zach knows how big of fans I am of both of those guys. So I think it'll all work out fine. Falcons, again, like it's a chalky pick. It's a clear quarterback upgrade of a roster that was underused. I think, maybe the pushback is a little like maybe it's a little too much praise too soon. But I do think but I do like the roster, and I think that adding Judon, adding Simmons is kind of like the final piece where I go from like 85% confident to like 100% confident. And then the Rams. I think the Rams are going to be probably the best offense in football. I do think that they've had a couple of really solid defensive drafts now, and you can't replace Aaron Donald, but you can. I think to use a little bit to use a Moneyball reference, I think you can recreate him in the aggregate a little bit with some of the rookies that they had last year, and Turner and a lot of those other guys. I think Verse is going to be really surprising to a lot of people. Not surprising because it's a first-round pick, but I think he's going to be really, really good. So those are my division winners. Bears. I just believe I believe what the data tells me on Caleb Williams. I believe what the film tells me on Caleb Williams. I believe what my eyes tell me on Caleb Williams. I believe in Ryan Poles. I believe that he knows what he's doing. I like the Matt Waldron pickup. I think that he's going to make Caleb's job super easy. And I think the NFC North as a whole, when you include the Packers and the Vikings, is a little overrated. I do think they suit the Vikings this year, unfortunately for Zach. The Packers are kind of one of the omissions that Zach kind of talked about. This is a good point that I've heard other people made. Like the Packers were 6. It's a little bit too. It's like what I was saying with the Falcons. It's a little too much hype, kind of just coming right at your face. They were 6-8, and then beat Bryce Young, Jaron Hall, and Justin Fields to get into the playoffs. So I'm a little hesitant. I don't even think they necessarily take a step back. I just think the NFC as a whole is a little more crowded. So I don't, and now they get a second place schedule. So that'll be a big part of it.
I agree.
Eagles, offensive skill, position talent is just going to be too good. I think the offensive line will regress, but again, that's not saying that much because it means that they're going to go from like the 3rd best offensive line to like the 8th or 9th best offensive line. So not saying too much. I am one of the most underrated storylines of the entire NFL season, I think, is going to be the relationship between Jalen Hurts and Cam Jurgens and how Jalen Hurts handles the
Nebraska legend Cam Jurgens. Thank you very much.
Legend Cam Jurgens and how he adjusts to fully taking on the protection calling duties of the Eagles. And so that's what I think. That's it. But again, like, you know, they're going to have the Giants to pick up wins against, you know, they'll win at least one against the Commanders. They might split. You know, the Commanders were a team that I almost thought about putting in here, but they're a wild card team for me. And then, you know, the Saint, every year there is a weird team. I almost thought about my weird team being the Cardinals. I think I might put them in the playoffs next year. I just think, and I could be wrong on them, I think they could be like a 7 or 8 win team. I just think that they have so little defensive talent despite Jonathan Gannon. It's just going to be so hard to overcome, and they're going to have to score like 34 points a game, which I think they can do. I just need to see it. But again, the Saints, right, went 9-8 last year, and I think the offense was underrated last year, and I think it's going to be even better, more efficient, and more creative. We don't have any questions about the defense. No question about the defense. I do think that Clint Kubiak steps in and does a lot of really cool and unique stuff to kind of maximize Chris Olave and kind of make Alvin Kamara really just comfortable. And I think, and kind of, you know, like maximize his skill set specifically. And so I think the Saints are going to be like the weird team this year. Zach's big omission that he referenced to me was that I do not have the defending NFC champions making the playoffs in the San Francisco 49ers. If you look at through the combinations of the age and his injury histories of Trent, whether it's age, injury history, general age, injury history at a position, or some combination of everything, between Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle. I'm not counting Ayuk there, but those 4 guys, I thought last year they were statistically they were not statistically. I thought last year they were as a whole unrepeatably healthy. I don't think that I think they will. Some of those guys are going to miss time the way that we know that they have, and I just think last year they just caught a bunch of injury breaks, and I don't really foresee that happening. And I do think, like again, the NFC is going to be as a whole better. The Falcons are going to be better. The Bears are going to be better. I think the Saints are going to be better. I don't think the Bucs are going to be going anywhere. The Rams will be even better, right? The Commanders will be better. It's just a lot of, right? Like the Packers, I don't think are going to make the playoffs, but I still think they're a viable just team. So I think that's going to be the big kind of shocker. And because I do think that the Super Bowl hangover is a real thing. And so that's my big kind of, there's always a what the hell happened team every year. So, and I think that will come from injury. I do think that Purdy kind of needs everyone. And I don't think that because of the health and age of a lot of those guys, he's going to have everyone. And so they to me are my shocking omission from the playoffs this year. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I would agree. First off, let me give an update on my draft because we are now multiple rounds in, and I kind of screwed myself. I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I screwed myself a little bit more. I was trying to do a little smart thing, which was bid small amounts on people, but also try to push the bidding up so people outbid me. and then I pushed up a little bit too far, and they'd stop bidding. I'd get the player for way more than I was hoping to pay on them, and I kind of screwed myself a couple of times. So I have 5 players, and I have $4. I have $12 up to my entire budget, which means I can basically get no one else until like everyone else spends their money. So this is where I'm at. But I have 5 players, so I have my starting 5. Like my starting QB is there. I have both starting RBs and both starting wide receivers. My starting
quarterback.
My starting QB is Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, okay.
My starting RBs are Saquon Barkley and James Cook. And my starting wide receivers are Jamar Chase and Marvin Harrison.
Right.
So I have those 5 great players. The issue is I physically can't make a move until I can't. I have $12 left in my budget. So I physically can't do anything until like 8 more rounds from now. But it's fine. There is one guy in our draft that still has $100 left. So he's going to be able to get like everyone he wants. So shout out to him. And also shout out to this guy called Wild Fat Pete, who has CJ Stroud, Rashad White, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Chris Olave, and Cooper Kupp, and still has $29 left.
Better than the $100 left guy.
Yeah. No, that's huge. So we'll see how this goes for me. I just get to nominate people and hope people spend money on them. After let's get another QB nominated. Let's go nominate Joe Burrow and just see what people
see what
people bet on this. Yep, somebody bet 2. I will not be betting more than 2. Because I can't. I can only bid 4 as my max. I can bid on a player right now. And I kind of want to see if I can bid like $4 on a tight end, on a starting tight end, because they do not have a starting tight end yet. And so I kind of need to buy a tight end here eventually. But the issue is I can't do anything. So that's our update. Now we're going over to the NFC playoffs, which is mine. Which is I'm also picking the Lions to win the division. I have the Eagles coming back and winning the NFC East. I have the Falcons pulling out the NFC South like Anders does, and I have the Rams winning the NFC West. However, I'm going to be under stipulation that if the Rams don't win the NFC West, they miss the playoffs. That is my opinion. Actually, that's my full opinion. I actually truly believe that. It means if the Rams don't have a good enough season to win in the division, I think they have like a mid-season where they just miss the playoffs completely. Mm-hmm. Then the Packers are my Packers, Niners, and Cowboys are my playoff teams. I think first off, let's start with the division winners. Lions to me are the obvious pick here. Yep. They're so good, and they got a lot better in the draft too. They're so good. The Eagles are better this year. I think Sirianni kind of gets himself back into it a little bit, and I think the Cowboys have a down year after they did absolutely nothing this offseason. I think the Cowboys kind of fall down a little bit. And then the Falcons are. Joe Burrow won for $5. That's crazy.
Wow.
Anyway, this guy's still the guy that has $100 has not got anyone yet. He's not gone for anyone yet.
Yeah, you use your money on something.
Yeah, like the dude's just not spending money. Like he is physically waiting for everyone else to spend money, and that way I guess he can. Like I don't even know. That way he can just go for whoever he wants once everyone else is out of money. We'll see. But anyway, so that's that. Packers, they look good with Love. Although I would not be surprised if Love has like a regression season and the Bears take their place here at number 2. I would not be surprised with that. The Bears are my next team out. I want to point that out. I am pained to not put the Bears in this division. And then I go Niners, Cowboys, which I know you guys are probably looking at this being like, Zach, that's 6 of 7 of the same teams as last year. And I'm like, you're right. But it's because this division is so weak. This conference is so weak that I think there's 6 good teams here. And I think the Falcons just win the NFC South by default.
Right.
So, yeah. We're finally getting down there now. Wow, that's a team, too. Listen to this team.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's team is Joe Burrow, Bijan Robinson, CeeDee Lamb, Henry Ruggs. Well, Henry Ruggs is not great. Sorry. Sam Laporta and Jalen Waddle. And he still has $25 left. Or $32 left.
I'm still wait. Can you give the explanation on the Henry Ruggs thing? Like that kind of just like it was a funny joke, but now it's like, wait, did someone think that he what?
No. Someone probably did that as an actual meme. Like somebody legit made that meme pick as a meme.
Got it. Okay.
George Pickens just went for $8 to somebody. Yeah, I have no money. I can't do any of this. This is where I screwed myself. I really did not want it. I didn't want Pat Mahomes. I just was like, I'm gonna keep betting up to see if people spend money on him. And then I put 25 and no one had higher than 25 on him. I'm like, oh crap. And then same with James Cook. I'm like, I'm not gonna pay more than 25 for him. And so he stopped paying at 23. I'm like, crap. Yeah, no. So
who here for the NFC was your first omission? Because I was gonna say
Bears. It's not even close. It's not even close. Like Bears, I was like, there was by me. I was like, do I kick the Cowboys out of the playoffs to put the Bears?
Right.
Like there was a legit question about that.
Right.
Or do I kick the Packers out of the playoffs? Say Jordan Love has a down season and the Bears make the playoffs. Like I really thought the Bears were going to make the playoffs.
For me, I had a really hard time keeping Tampa out. I think, like, for me, it's difficult because, like, the Saints to me, and I love the Bucks, and I actually love their roster. The Bucks, the Saints added Clint Kubiak. The Bucks lost Dave Canales. And so I'm kind of, I'm a little eerie there. I next to, like, again, like the Bucks could win the division again. Like I think that's 100% on the table. I just going from Dave Canales to Liam Cohen, that's a little, I need to see it. You know what I mean? That was the kind of challenging one for me. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, sorry. I'm upset because Trey McBride only went for $6.
He went for how much?
$6 for Trey McBride.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, dude, somebody just got steal. This guy just got Tank Dell and Trey McBride for a combined $14. That's crazy. Okay. Yeah, that's my picks for that. Anyway, Anders.
Yes.
We have something we need to do right now, which is it is week 1.
Yes.
So we have to make some predictions, Anders. Yep. And Anders, I'm gonna be straight up with you here.
Yep.
We're gonna figure not this episode because it's too late now. I kind of want to get this. We kind of need to move on this episode, so we aren't gonna figure out the punishment yet, but there will be a competition, and the winner will get something, and the loser will have to do punishment.
Yep.
And we will figure out what that is by next episode.
Yep.
But for now, we got to make our picks. And so, Anders, I'm going to pull up the NFL schedule here.
Yep.
And Anders, I need you to do one thing for me. Can you do that?
Oh, boy.
Can you pull up like a Google Sheets and mark these down?
Yep.
Just so we know.
Google Docs. Here we go.
I can't back some for it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm set. I'm ready.
You're set? Okay. So, Anders,
yep.
The first game that we are predicting will be the Thursday night game. Ravens at Chiefs. Anders, you can go first.
Okay. Let's go. I'm gonna go Ravens.
You're gonna go Ravens. Okay. I'm not. I think the Chiefs lost. The Chiefs lost their week 1 matchup last year. I don't think that happens again. I'm gonna go KC.
Okay. Ravens, Chiefs. Week 2.
There's no way I win this.
No,
Right?
week 2. Matchup 2.
There's no way I win this, right? There's no way.
Are you about to?
There's no way I get a tight end for free. I got a tight end for free. Let's go. Kyle Pitts, welcome to the team.
Oh my god.
I got Kyle Pitts for $2. I got Kyle Pitts for $2. That's a dub. I will take that.
Very excited.
That's way too sorry. I got so excited there. Okay, Anders, moving on to Brazil. We got a really incredible game in Brazil that they're going to get to see. Packers at Eagles. This will be a little interesting because the fighting is weird. Everything else is kind of weird around this game as well. Anders, what do you see?
I see the Packers winning.
You see the Packers winning. Okay, I will also agree with you. I think you're going to see the Packers winning as well.
You notice how like all the excuse making with all the weird like restrictive stuff is only coming from the Eagles and not from Green Bay?
I have noticed that.
Right? Isn't that kind of interesting?
Yeah. Dude.
Maybe
sorry.
people in Green Bay are used to not doing anything and just staying inside anyway. So
yeah. No, anyway, so I agree. I'm gonna say Green Bay as well. I think the Eagles are making too much to choose. I think they're gonna lose this week 1 game and kind of go back to Philly, not 0-1. So that's where I'm gonna go. That's crazy. Mark Andrews is going for $11 when Trey McBride and Kyle Pitts went for a combined 8. That is, that's crazy. Okay. Yeah, I know. I understand it now too. This guy's like, I'm 100% winning my next auction draft. And I'm like, I think I am too. I understand how this draft works now.
right.
Anyway, continue. So that's game 2. Anders, you have these marked down?
Yep.
Now we go to Sunday. Our first Sunday of the year. Red Zone will not be on because I'm not paying the insane amount of money that it is for whatever Sunday NFL ticket nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But, Anders, Steelers at Falcons.
Falcons.
I'm going to join you on that. I'm saying Falcons week 1 as well. I think Kirk Cousins wins week 1. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, no. So I think I say Falcons as well. Moving on, Cardinals at Bills, Anders.
This is gonna be the first. I'm gonna say the Cardinals.
I really want to join you in that, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna go Bills.
Okay. And then we have Titans, Bears. I'm gonna go with the Bears here. You want to join me on that?
Let me look here. 1 second. Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna go Bears as well on that. 100%. Sorry. Patriots at Bengals, Anders.
Bengals.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna go Bengals as well. I don't think it's gonna be close. I think Bengals are there. This next one I also don't believe it's gonna be close. Actually, wait, it might be. Texans at Colts.
I'm gonna go with the Colts. I think the Stephon Diggs, CJ Stroud chemistry might take a second, and also like Dell coming back and whatever. Like I think that's gonna take a little bit of time. Like when I say little, I mean like literally like just like 3 weeks. But I do think Richardson. I'll go Colts there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Colts as well, actually. And I'm probably taking the Colts. I think Colts come in and upset. I think Anthony Richardson goes off and has one of those insane weeks that he had like early in the season last year. And I think they win. Jaguars at Dolphins. Anders, I think I'm taking the Dolphins here.
This is where is this? If this is at home, than it is for the Dolphins, and I'm going to go the Dolphins. Yeah, I'm going to go the Dolphins there. And then we get to Panthers and Saints. I'm going to be taking the Saints, obviously.
Yeah, I'm going to be taking the Saints. Oh, man, I probably really want to take Bryce Young and Panthers here. A part of me really does.
Do it.
You know what, Epic? We're doing it. Panthers are going to beat the Saints week 1. I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
All right.
This next one is even a question for me. Vikings at Giants. Anders. The Vikings own Daniel Jones. I'm taking Vikings.
Do the Vikings own Daniel Jones?
We do in his first ever game. Since then, no. But in his first ever game, we do, and we got a better defense since that game. I think we're going to get Daniel Jones pretty well.
Yeah, I think the Brian Day. Yeah, no, I'll join you there. That's a little close for me, but I'll go Vikings. Yeah.
No, Sam Darnold's about to do some things for me.
What, emotionally?
Yeah. We're finally getting out to the point that no one has any money left, Anders.
Yeah.
Except for that guy that still has $102. He has not gotten anyone since we last spoke. My dude is just waiting, and I don't know what he's waiting. Well, he got Christian Kirk for $8. I don't know what he's doing, but congrats to him for getting Christian Kirk.
Raiders and Chargers. I'm gonna go Raiders here.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Raiders as well.
Broncos, Seahawks.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go Broncos, Seahawks. I'm gonna take the Seahawks here. I'm gonna go a little bit crazy. I'm gonna take Seahawks. I don't think Bo Nix wins his opener.
Cowboys, Browns. I am going to take the Cowboys.
Give me the Browns in Cleveland, week 1.
Okay.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
And then last but not least, for the regular slot, Buccaneers, Commanders. I'm going to go the Buccaneers. And then Buccaneers, Commanders.
Yeah, I'm taking Buccaneers.
Buccaneers.
Rams, Lions. What a game on freaking Sunday night to start the season.
But that's really close.
I'm going to go Lions as well, but it's going to be really good, man.
And then 49ers, Jets to close it off.
I'm going to go with the Niners here. Sorry, Anders. I don't think Jets win week 1. I'm taking the Niners.
So that's fine. I'm also going to go with the 49ers.
I'm going to take the Niners here.
So the only ones that you and I feel different on is Ravens, Chiefs, Cardinals, Bills, Saints, Panthers, Cowboys, Browns. Those are the 4 we feel different on.
Yes.
Everything else is the same.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, Anders, I'm going to call it there just because we got our picks now in. Next week, we'll let you know what our punishment is and what our reward will be for the winner of this. And then we will see how it goes from there. But we are very excited for this. We're happy to be back. I am sorry I was very distracted by the end there. We're getting a little intense in that dynasty draft. I will not be doing more fantasy drafts during this podcast. I thought it'd be a cool little content idea. I think it just took too much of my attention. So we'll not be doing any more of that. But shout out to you guys, shout out to everyone. Please subscribe to our YouTube. Subscribe, follow, turn on your comments. We turn on comments, turn on notifications. We would love to hear your guys' feedback on this. If you guys want to roast me for not paying attention for half this show because I was so focused on fantasy, please do so in the comments. I understand. Other than that, we'll be happy. We will be coming back to you here, so we're excited.
Absolutely.
But yes, okay, sounds good. Anders, on behalf of the great Anders Pryor, I'm Zac Tipton, and I am very much signing off on our episode. We are so back. And we will see you after week 1 of the NFL football season. Go check us out on Bleav On Twins. We talked about all of that earlier in the show. Go check us out. And our link to that will be in the description. We'll have all links down in the description.
100%.
Sounds good, guys. Talk to you guys later. Thank you.
See you guys.